Thanks for everyone who came tonight. I know that many of you are here not because you're interested in sewer easements that we'll be discussing later, but to celebrate someone who's here or are here to witness these fantastic proclamations. And so we'd be remiss if we didn't take a few minutes for our colleagues who are moving on to other things. One of whom is this fellow right here. I'm going to read a proclamation. Somehow Karen Gilbert is not reading this proclamation. I have no idea how this got handed to me and not to Karen, but I'll do my best, Councilor Gilbert, to read this.
I'm here to help you if you need it.
I might need you. Whereas G.T. Bynum was elected as the youngest councilor to serve on the Tulsa City Council, and despite his youth, soon demonstrated his acumen for the legislative process. And whereas while serving on the council, he helped organize the largest streets package in the city's history, and worked tirelessly on putting water in the river. And whereas GT has always shown his willingness to work with all aspects of the community, reaching across district lines, racial lines, and socioeconomic lines to build a stronger, more friendly, focused city with an eye towards the future and a strong foundation in its past. And whereas GT has led the council through many difficult years of both budget crisis and funding decisions, and his eye to detail has stood the council and the city in good stead. And whereas G.T. Bynum is leaving the council seat for a different seat on the 15th floor, as mayor, there is no doubt he will continue to engender the spirit of cooperation and dedication to the city and its citizens between the mayor's office, city departments, the city council, and in the private sector. We've got a little cardboard for you. So here's your proclamation, signed by a computer.
With my own signature.
With your own signature.
I signed it for myself.
It's some sort of weird loop that we're in at this point. But I'll say a couple of words. I came on the council a few years back, and there was a lot of transition at the time, and I think the public in many ways felt like the city was in a time of frustration and turmoil. And I would say GT was one of two councilors who was kind of still there after a massive overhaul of the city council took place. And without those two councilors and their leadership and their patience with those of us who are new, I don't think we would have seen such progress over the last few years. And so I'm very grateful, and I think I speak on behalf of all of our colleagues for the leadership that you've shown on the council, and our city's better for it. And our council's better for it, and I'm better for having served with you, and I'm very grateful to you as a friend and as a colleague. So we're excited to see what happens with you on a different floor and in a different role, and I think we're all very excited to work with you there. Do you want to say some things?
Sure. Well, I thought I was going to prattle on later in the meeting, so wasn't really expecting this. Thank you, Blake. No, I just want to say what an honor it has been to serve my neighbors from District 9 on the council for the last 8.5 years. This is the place where the citizens of Tulsa hash out what they're going to do with their city. This is the place where it is intentionally designed so every person in Tulsa has equal representation and has an equal opportunity to have a say in the future of their city and the direction that it takes. If the citizens decide that their streets are in lousy shape like they did in 2008, this is how they get together and decide what that looks like. At that dais, right there. When the citizens decide they want to reinvest in their city and make it a great place for the next generation, these are the people that they elect to figure that out. And so it has just been a huge, huge honor for me for the last 8 years to be a District 9 councilor. It is going to be a huge honor to be the mayor for the next 4 years. But I can't help but think, on personal terms, because a lot of the time we talk about this job from a policy standpoint. But I think about when I was elected, my son was a year and a half. And he used to be terrified when he would watch our meetings on TV because he thought I was trapped inside the television set. And now he's going to turn 10 the week after I get sworn in. My daughter was born while I was a city councilor, and in fact, my wife and I scheduled her birth, and my wife will never let me live this down, scheduled her birth around the city council meeting schedule. So it has been a very personal thing for us. It's a huge honor to have served under that seal. You know, we moved over when I'd been on the council for about a year from the old city hall. And we didn't bring much with us, but we brought that. And that's the seal that my granddad served under. That's the seal that Roger Randall served under, and Susan Savage, and Susan Neal, and Kason Carter. So many people that I revere and am so thankful for their service. And so I'm glad that when we're in this new building, we kept part of our history with us. And the last thing I want to say, you know, I remember when Senator Nichols, I was his staffer, and we were riding on the tram to go over for him to give his last speech on the floor of the Senate, and he kept saying, "Don't get emotional, don't get emotional." And now here I am getting emotional. But it's been such an honor to serve with Jack Henderson. I've worked with Jack longer than I've ever worked with anybody. When I first got elected to the council, Jack would beat me around like a cat with a ball of yarn every week at our council meetings. And I would go home so outraged and angry, and I'd tell my wife, "Can you believe what Jack Henderson said?" And she said, "I watched it, and I kind of agree with Jack on this one." But over 8 years of sitting at that table, working through issue after issue every week for 8.5 years, Jack and I have a great working relationship. And in my mind, that's what this council and service on this body is supposed to be about. It's supposed to bring people together who don't have the same life experience, who have very different political views outside of the city. And it did for me to have the chance to serve with Jack. And beyond the council, you know, a lot has been said and should be said about Jack being the longest serving member of the city council. But more important than that, Jack Henderson is the longest serving African American in the history of the City of Tulsa's government. And long before he got elected to the city council, when people needed help, they knew that they could come to Jack Henderson and get it. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been in where someone has come to the city council with a problem, whether it was a huge one, like something that wasn't getting fixed in their neighborhood, whether it was a street project or crime, or the grass was overgrown at their neighbor's house. And every time the response from Jack was, "I'll work with you," and he would go and take care of it. That's the kind of servant leader Jack has been. And he gets embarrassed when I call him this. And it's not just because he's old. He is a historic figure in the history of this city. He is a historic figure in the civil rights movement in Tulsa, which is not something that just happened in the 1960s and 70s. It is something that is still going on right now. And Jack is a historic figure in Tulsa in that movement. So for me, as a guy who loves history, who loves Tulsa, it's been a huge honor to serve with him. And I want that to be the focus of tonight's meeting. So thank you very much.
We're going to make Jack cry tonight. Maybe not. He's so tough. We haven't, thank you, GT. That was as predictably classy as everything that you do. And I think we've all learned in these moments from you in that regard, how you encourage us to do better and then celebrate everybody who's helped you get where you are. And so I will echo those sentiments as I invite Jack to come down here, because I think we would all say the same types of things that GT has said about getting to serve with Jack. And so I'll do my best to read another thing about Jack as he comes down. If you guys want to help me, you can say "whereas" with me. This is my favorite part about doing these, all right? So we'll start with "whereas." 1, 2, 3. Whereas Jack Henderson has served the Tulsa City Council with distinction, compassion, and a focus on serving the entire city of Tulsa for over a decade. And during his time on the council, he has served as an ambassador in the Sister Cities program and has been instrumental in securing funding for many projects in his district. During times of unrest, he has served as a calm voice of reason between citizens and the city and its departments. Because of him and his steadfast nature, relations between the community and the police department have been cooperative and benefited the city on a national level. And you guys are so good. Jack Henderson has served as the Dean of the Council, mentoring his colleagues and ensuring a cooperative spirit between all areas of the city. And Jack Henderson was one of the ringleaders in the Arby's 5. I knew that would get a Susan Neal cackle. And has grown into one of the true peacemakers of the city council. Because of him, North Tulsa and the city of Tulsa have a much higher quality of life for the elderly, families, and children. Let's hear it for Jack Henderson. We're not done yet. We got some hardware to give you. All you have to do to get one of these keys to the city is spend over a decade of your life in public service, enduring countless community meetings where most of the people there didn't come to encourage you and tell you what a great job you're doing. That's all you got to do. Just take a decade-long beating on behalf of the people that you've chosen to serve. So here's your key. It unlocks absolutely nothing. But we're not posing yet. I think the funny thing about this as we celebrate Jack tonight is that many of us have gotten crossways with Jack in a meeting. Lucy Dolman is here, and poor Jim Twombly is not here. They'd be arguing probably right now if he was. I think the thing that will stick out to me always, and oh, here we go. We're not there yet, but early on the council, I had a similar experience. I don't remember what the issue was, but it was probably the completion of the Gilcrease Expressway, which I'll still call Jack up on a regular basis after he's gone just to needle him about this issue. But Jack and I kind of got crossways at a table. And afterwards, I was out in the hall, and some city staff, and I don't remember who it was like, "Finally, somebody's here who can throw down with Jack." And I'm like, like they were selling tickets to our fights in the early days. People would all tune into T-Gov and watch us go at it. And what most people probably don't know is that after those fights at the table, I don't know how else to, we were both passionately advocating for things that we cared about. Most every time ended with me popping ahead into Jack's office afterwards, like, I'd be like, "You still mad?" And we'd make up quick and we'd move on. And on so many issues where we disagreed, we came together, especially on the big things that moved our city forward. And Jack wasn't just a passive voice ever. He was always challenging us to do better for the city. But North Tulsa should know, if it doesn't already, that for over a decade, you've had somebody fighting the fight for you. And for sure. Even in those times where the other 8 of us had not forgotten about North Tulsa, we were still going to be reminded not to forget about North Tulsa, be it on streets packages or on vision programs or whatever. You had somebody in the room who we were all very aware of. And we all knew that we weren't getting out of that room without North Tulsa getting its due. And that's a testament to the work of this man and his passion and how much he cared for his community. And I think long after Jack is gone, his voice will still be in the room when we're talking about those issues. And so I want to say thank you to Jack tonight for the influence he's been on me and on my colleagues here on the council. And just I hope that years from now your legacy is what it should be and that people remember you for who you are. So thank you, man. Yep, and now I have to show one more thing before I let you off the hook. We had a meeting several years ago. This was one of the times where Jack and I might have gotten crossways at the table. And I sit across from Jack at council meetings, down towards the end, mostly so the T-Gov cameras don't capture me down at the end of the table. I can play on my phone and color and do things. So Jack sits right across from me, and I have to out you right now. Jack, sometimes meetings go long, it's after lunch, and he gets sleepy. But he doesn't just like straight up snooze at the table. He can make it look like he's taking notes while he's sleeping. He has his arm on a table and a pen in his hand, and his head's just down. And unless you pay close attention, it looks like he's just like taking notes. But if you like, get under there and look, Jack's asleep. And he'll just kind of, but somehow he's awake enough that if something comes up that he's not cool with, he'll be like, what? We're like, I swear he was asleep, but he's kind of awake. So anyway, we were in this meeting, we got crossways, and he said something mean to me that I didn't like, and I said, well, you sleep in the meetings. I don't remember what I said. I accused him of sleeping during the meetings, which was true. So when that happened, this guy that I know took some liberties with a photograph of Jack, and we have to show some pictures. This is Jack in his classic sleeping at the table pose, sleeping during the Hindenburg explosion. You were dead asleep. There he is with a little hat on, asleep at the wheel of the Titanic. And there he is, an atomic bomb has gone off, but Jack sleeps. And here he is as an American Idol judge. So we just have to rib him with those on the way out the door. You know, no one will ever be able to sleep through a meeting and still contribute so much as you have contributed. So thank you for that. Let's hear it one more time.
And Jack,
First of all, giving honor to God, who is the head of my life, I just want to say to each and every one of you here today, I'm excited. I'm excited for what's going to happen to me. I was excited when I was sitting here on this council for 14 years. And GT, we've had some great times, man. I just want to sit back and look, and I talked about this to somebody the other day. They said, when I seen my wife and my church members and a lot of my friends here, I knew that they were going to do something like this. But I was prepared, see, because I'm always prepared. And I've got a tape that I have taped some of my counselors doing some crazy stuff too. And they don't know it, but I'm going to show it to the community. Now, let's all kidding to the side. I do want to thank my family for being here, all my friends that made it tonight. Thank you for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. I know how hard it's been, you being a friend to me, and as hard as I have been trying to represent this community, I just want to say to you, I know you put up with a lot from me, but I'm not done yet. When you close one door, you open another. And I want to say to Mayor Bartlett, we've had some times too, and I know some of them times when people thought that you and I were not on the same page. And even the time that I and GT was out of town and we had our little powwow and we broke bread together and had a little sip of wine together. And we solved some problems. And I just want to say to you, sir, thank you for being the person that you were. And you made me a better counselor. Because there are some times that I really wanted to choke you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. But I do want to say something that out of all the years that I've been on the council, one of the people that really has been totally special to me has been Susan Neal. One night, Susan said to me, "My mother thinks that you're mean. And who is that man that talks all loud to you all the time?" She said, "Mother, he's just expressing his opinion." And I just want to say to you, I am certainly glad that I got to meet you. I know that you were District 9 City Councilor and I was District 1. That was the farthest away from each other, but I'm glad that we became friends, and I will cherish your friendship forever. And to each one of these councilors, GT, and I could just name each and every one of y'all, I have had a great time serving with you guys. And I know that I was rough, but you know what? I made each one of you better councilors because of what I did. And I'm going to feel like really the dean of the council when I leave, because I'm going to sit back and watch this and have my popcorn and peanuts. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch the city council meetings, and I'm going to say, I used to be there. Jane Malone, you're special too. Your neighborhood association probably made me famous because you were one of the most dedicated neighborhood leaders that I've had in my district. And I just want to say to you, I appreciate you, love you. And Dr. Turner, Ms. Rogers, Mike, all of you.
We want your family to come up, Dorothy, and we're going to get some pictures with the. Okay, come on up, Jane.
Come on, come on. Dr. Turner, you can come up. Anybody else that want to come up? You're on primetime TV. T-Gov, it don't get no better than T-Gov. I'm telling you.
I'm not a preacher, but I do want you to listen. I can't hold that. Something about Jack. With Councilor Henderson's assistance, we, Chamberlain area neighbors, have been successful in the following areas: railroad crossings, cleanup, new water lines, driveway extensions, stop signs, Chamberlain Park staying sort of open, transportation. Is Lucy here? Okay. Highway repair, traffic lights, street maintenance, expressway repair, safe and secure neighborhoods. Our counselor is steadfast in his love and concern for Tulsa, especially North Tulsa. As a matter of fact, Councilor Henderson does more than hear, he listens. He does more than listen, he understands. Does more than think, he ponders. You might think he's sleeping, but he's pondering. He does more than talk, he says something. These are some of the words from John H. Rhodes. In closing, I will close. I would like to leave you, Councilor Henderson, with the words of Kent Keith. If you are successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest men and women with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest men and women with the smallest minds. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow only top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, but may attack you if you do help them. Help people anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you will get kicked in the teeth Give the world the best you have anyway. Thank you, Councilor Henderson. Oh, my goodness. I love you. We have a gift
And
for you.
I would like to announce we're going to take a group picture. If you've worked with Jack Henderson or just want good friends and want to be in the picture, we're going to stand up here and have a group picture with him.
Can I just say something since Jack called me out?
Susan.
Hey, Jane. Okay, so I used the mother card because, your mom says that to you, and so you say, and it worked really a little bit. Jack eased up for a little while. But I want to say that it's not just 2 years, 4 years, 10 years. It's 16 years of knowing Jack Henderson. And again, through times of disagreement, agreement, good discussion, hands on hips, mad discussion. Jack, I've always known where you stood. I've always appreciated what you have done for your constituents and what you have done for Tulsa. And I hope you are excited about your next chapter, because I'm excited because I know you'll continue to do great things for the city of Tulsa and your community. So thank you so much. With love, Susan. And Mayor-elect Bynum, you served District 9 so well. It's proud to have you following me, and this gentleman as well. Another District 9 former, and your last city council meeting as well. So thank you.
Jane?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, GT.
Okay. Our new District 9 City Councilor is also here if he would like to come up and have his picture. And Dwayne, Lucy, whoever wants to have their picture.
Anyone who's ever been yelled at by Jack.